If you had told me on the Saturday morning that I would be flying to Hong Kong on the Wednesday with a complete stranger, I probably would have slapped you through the face and told you you were crazy. However, that did happen. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of The Casey Way. So in this episode, I want to share with you one of the craziest things I kind of did, as well as my full-blown panic attack, breakdown, freak out in the middle of Hong Kong. So as you heard in the start of the episode, we've got to backtrack a little bit. So I was working, a couple of years ago, I was working as a bartender in a nightclub. Now, it was a really dingy nightclub in my small little town, the one of two nightclubs. Not the best quality of people all around, but, you know, there's amazing people everywhere you go. But anyway, I'm at this working at the nightclub, and, of course, we were always dressed up, like, really, really nice in high heels, like, dressed up really nice. So getting hit on was kind of like a every night type of thing, and you just kind of keep working. Anyway, this one day, this guy walks in. And he was dressed really nice. Like, he was dressed kind of in a, you know, like suit pants and like a button-up shirt. And I was like, well, they must have just come from a wedding, or they must have come. But I was looking at him and I was going, oh, he's really cute. And I did recognize him. I knew him from around town, but that's like small town Port Macquarie. That's what you get. Anyway, this guy ends up coming up to me at the bar and serving me. And I'm like, you know, obviously putting a little bit of a flirt on. And he ends up giving me a $50 tip. Which, let me tell you, in Australia, people don't tip. Like, you don't tip here. Never mind $50. Like, and I'm like, damn, okay, baller. And then he sits not too far away from the bar, so we're like, I'm kind of, you know, I can see him the whole time. Anyway, later he comes back up to the bar and says to me, like, you look really, really fit. Do you work out? And at this stage, this is when I was like full into my CrossFit. Like, I was really, really muscular. I was really, really strong, and really, really fit. And I was like, haha, yeah, I'm a CrossFitter. And he was like, oh, you're one of those. And I was like, yes, there's nothing wrong with being one of those. I'm a CrossFitter. Anyway, he turns around and says to me, he goes, oh, well, I know this might sound crazy, but I'm starting a fashion brand, like a fitness apparel brand, and I'd really love to speak to you about it. And I was like, wow, that is one of the best pickup lines I've ever heard. That's like one that's, you know, not ever been said to me before. And he's like, haha, no, seriously, like, I swear to you, I'd love to just talk to you about it. I have some samples I'd really love for you to try. So I'm like, okay, all right, cool. So anyway, got his Facebook details. We connected over Facebook. And then the next morning, Sunday morning, we decided to meet up for a coffee. So this was obviously like 2 a.m. on Saturday night. The Sunday morning, we said we'd meet up for coffee. And we did. We had a great chat. He was really lovely. He gave me a bunch of samples. And I said to him, I was like, well, look, I'm going to the gym later today. Why don't you just come with me? And I'll take your clothes and I'll try them on and I'll give you some honest feedback. And he ended up coming with me to the CrossFit gym. It was the first time he ever came to CrossFit. And I actually hated the clothes. Like, they were way too hot. They didn't stretch enough. They just were uncomfortable. And I was very honest with him. I said, look, you know, I'm going to be very honest. I just don't like them. And he turns around and he says to me, he goes, that's like the best feedback that I've ever gotten. I know this is going to sound crazy, but I'm actually going to Hong Kong on Wednesday because there's a big trade show in Hong Kong on Wednesday where I'm going to meet with all the factories. I'm going to look at fabrics. I'm going to look at different designs. He's like, would you be crazy enough to come with me? Like, I'll pay for the ticket, the hotel, like everything, but will you just come with me? And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I would love to, but I'm busy running a restaurant at the moment and my parents are never going to let me go with a stranger. Anyway, we chatted a little bit more, and the more I thought about it, and the more he was like, well, look, just have a think about it. And we left like after the gym and went home, and he messaged me and he was like, look, I'm deadly serious. Like, if you can make it work, like, I want you to come to Hong Kong with me. So I was like, oh, okay, let me have a chat to my parents. Now, I had to go to work that afternoon at the restaurant, which was a Sunday afternoon. We did like a Sunday afternoon sesh where we had some live music and some drinks. And I said to my parents, I said, listen, this is going to be a bit crazy, but I met this guy at the nightclub, and he's starting a clothing line and he wants me to go to Hong Kong with him. And my parents like, are you nuts? Have you seen Taken? That is never happening. You're not going. Like, are you crazy, Casey? And I was like, I know. I was like, but he's really nice. Like, he's really, really nice. And he's actually going to come here for a drink just so you guys can meet him. And he's really cute and he's really tall and he played football in America. And, like, he's just really, really lovely. So I was like bragging about this guy, obviously, because we chatted a little bit about each other. And then Mum was like, well, what's his name? And I said, oh, I'm not going to say his name on here because I actually don't know where in the world he is. I do, but I'll leave his name. Anyway, his last name was the same name as a doctor that's here in town. So Mum says, oh, does he have any relation to the doctor's name? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I'll see. Anyway, he arrived at the restaurant and Mum, obviously Mum and Dad met him. Dad grilled him, like my dad's best friend grilled him, and he took it really, really well and was like, why do you want to take my daughter to Hong Kong? And, so on and so forth. And anyway, he was lovely. His charms kind of won, and he's a golfer. So my dad, was won over already. And then my mum asked him, like, do you have any relationship? Like, is this doctor in town your grandfather? And he was like, no, that's my father. And my mum goes, oh, I know you. I'll tell you, his name was Stuart. My mum goes, oh, Stuart, I know you. Your dad talks about you all the time. Yeah, Casey, that's fine. You can go. And I was like, sorry, what? And I was like, okay. Mum's like, yeah. Like, I know his family. Like, he's a good boy. Yeah, you're fine. You'll be fine. Go, have fun. Go on an adventure. So I was like, oh, shit, okay. I met this guy last night, haven't even known him for 24 hours, and I've just agreed to go to Hong Kong with him. So he did. He bought all the tickets, everything. Wednesday, we hopped in the car together. We drove together to Sydney, like chatted, got along like to House on Fire during the day, like during the drive, flew to Hong Kong. And obviously we were hitting it off. Like we really liked each other and everything. And we went to Hong Kong, and then we had like this most beautiful night. Like we went for dinner. We were staying in like the Shangri-La, which is like a beautiful hotel. So we really experiencing Hong Kong, which was really cool. And the next day we had to go to this trade show. So we got all dressed up, and the next day we went to the trade show, spent the whole day at the trade show. He met a couple of like factories and everything like that. And then we went back, had a nice dinner. And then the next day he needed to go into China. So you actually have to take, because Hong Kong's an island, so you actually have to take like the train over into China. And he says to me, he goes, look, I'm meeting at this factory like early in the morning. I've got 2 factories to meet. And then I'll be back by 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we can go, like, I'll make reservations at the restaurant downstairs for dinner. So I said, yeah, that's how. He goes, will you be all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'll be fine. Like, apparently, so we had already seen that there's like a shuttle bus that goes from the hotel to the local shopping center. So I was like, I'll be fine. I'll go do some shopping. I'm sure Hong Kong shopping's really cheap. Like, I'll go, get myself some stuff and come back to the hotel and just chill out, go to the spa. And, I was like, I'll be fine. You go. He goes, oh, we'll keep in contact all day and I'll let you know how we're going. So I'm like, yeah, no, you're fine. You go, have fun. Good luck. See you later. Bye. So he left, and I did. I had a lovely day, but I couldn't seem to get hold of him. Like, his phone wasn't working. The messages weren't going through most of the day. Anyway, I was like, oh, it's fine. I ended up catching the shuttle bus to this shopping center. I thought, yeah, hell yeah, like cheap shops. Let's do it. Never mind. Like, it was the like luxury quarter of Hong Kong. Like every store was like Cartier, like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, like this huge shopping center with all these like massive brand names. Anyway, didn't buy a thing. Unfortunately, I thought I was going for bargains, and yeah, definitely Hong Kong is not the place to go to get a bargain. I learned that very quickly, but I had a great day when I, got some lunch. I was like, okay, I better make my way back to the hotel because it's getting to around 3 or 4 o'clock. Stu's gonna be getting back soon. So I catch the shuttle bus back to the hotel, which, let me tell you, it's not very easy in Hong Kong. Not that many people speak English. It's Hong Kong is a very strange country. One of the strangest, not strange, but one of the most unusual countries that I've ever been to. When you're walking through the city of Hong Kong and when you see all the apartment buildings and stuff, there are these huge high-rise, like super, super tall buildings with like these tiny little windows. It looks like people are living in these tiny little flats, like in poverty, and the streets are kind of dirty and it's not pretty. Like Hong Kong is not a pretty city at all. But everybody drives around in Mercedes, in BM, in Lexus. Like all of them have name brand clothes, name brand bags. Like they're all very brand awareness. Hong Kong is like the biggest diamond industrial like shopping place. There's so much money and there's so much wealth in Hong Kong, but people live in so much poverty, and there's like billions, like I think like a billion people. I don't know, I'm making these numbers up, but there's a lot of people that live on that tiny island, and it is pretty tiny. So managing to navigate my way back to the hotel was an interesting feat in itself. I kind of just had to point to the map and I was like, I need to go here. But get back to the hotel, 3 o'clock comes, Stu isn't back, 4 o'clock comes, Stu isn't back. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the spa, get ready for dinner. He should be back by 5. We've got a reservation at 7. Wrote him a note. I'm going to the spa. Like, I'll be back in time for dinner if you get home. Go to the spa, come back. He's still not there. And I'm like, okay. Now I'm starting to get a bit worried because now it's starting to get dark outside. I'm trying to ring his phone. Like, I'm trying to text him. Nothing's going through. Haven't heard a word from him. Like, checked my emails, checked everything. Nothing. Didn't hear a word from him. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's probably just running late. Trains are running late. Whatever. So 7 o'clock rolls around, 8 o'clock rolls around. Now I'm starting to panic, but now I'm hungry as well because I haven't gone down to dinner by myself. So I do need to go find my own dinner. So the restaurant was full, so you can't just go sit in the restaurant. We kind of lost our booking. So I walked out into the streets and I wandered kind of the streets where we were, and I went into this tiny little, it looked like a restaurant that you could get, you just pick your noodles and your meat and stuff like that from the board. You say the number that you want, they give you a tray and off you go, you eat. So I was like, okay, this is easy enough. I'll just point at that one and I'll get it. And I'm like, no one speaks English. So I was just like, that one there. Anyway, I get this tray and everything's frozen. Like I'm not even joking when I say I got this tray and it was like noodles, but the noodles were frozen in water, cold water. And then there was salmon that was frozen. And then there was like some vegetables that looked really dodgy and a bread roll. And I was like, I'm not sure what you're supposed to do. And no one spoke English, so nobody could even help me. So I kind of just sat staring at my plate and I was like, So I ended up eating the bread roll and then just pushing everything else aside because I was like, what the hell are you supposed to do with frozen food? Are you supposed to cook it? Is there somewhere that, I don't know. Anyway, still didn't figure it out. And now I'm still freaking out because I haven't heard anything from Stu. So I leave the restaurant and I just go to like the equivalent of the 7-Eleven and I just stock up on like chocolate and chips and things like that. And anyway, 8:30, I think it was like 8:30 or 9 o'clock. I've gone back to the hotel. I was like, okay, he has to be there by now. Get back. He's still not there. Now I've gone into full panic mode. And now I'm like, I don't even know. I don't have any flight details. I don't have any of his details. I don't know his passport details. I don't know his, like, any other number for him. I can't get hold of him on this number. I don't know when our flight out is. I knew it was like on the next Monday or something like that. I didn't know with who or where or nothing. I realized that I was the biggest idiot. I don't know what I've done. This guy's gone into China and disappeared. He's gone to go visit factories in China and just disappeared. So I'm now on the phone to my mom and dad freaking out, like having this full flip out. I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do? I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. I'm in a country that doesn't speak my language at all. Like I had money, but I didn't have that much money. I was like, I have no idea about flight details. I don't have access to anything. I just totally came blind on this trip with this stranger. And I'm like full freaking out. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? So I ended up going down to like the reception and I said, listen, the guy that I'm staying with, he's not come back from China. Like I'm starting to panic. Like, what can I do? Like, who can I speak to? And they were like, oh, okay. Do you know where he went? And I was like, I have no idea where he went. I don't even know and I said, he went to a factory. And they were kind of like, he went to a factory in China. I was like, oh yeah, no, that's really not that much to go on. I had nothing, literally had nothing. And I was like, you're the biggest idiot. Anyway, go back upstairs, like full panicking, can't like sleep. And I was like, no, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Then I think at like 11:30, 11:45, I hear the door open and he walks in the door. And I was like, oh my God, I can't even explain to you the sensation that went through me, like the biggest sigh of relief. And literally, I barely knew this guy, but like I ran up to him and jumped in his arms and hugged him and just started bawling my eyes out, like bawling my eyes out. And he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, when I went over into China, the cell service like cut off." And he goes, "I was trying to get hold of you all day and I didn't know your number by heart. And nothing was working. Like, so he couldn't get hold of me. He said he tried to phone the hotel, but I don't know, there was just some sort of issues. He was trying to leave a message for me at the hotel, but for some reason I didn't get it, even if he did. Anyway, he was like, "I'm so sorry." They invited me to the factory, and then you have to go and like meet the family and, you know, go for dinner, and this person wants to take you out and then this person wants to take you out. And then he said, then I got on the train and the train went in the wrong direction. So then he's like, and he goes, "It took me too long to figure out," like, because also it's a strange language. He goes, "There was no English anywhere." He goes, "And when I realized I was going in the wrong direction, we'd already been traveling for like 45 minutes. So I had to travel 45 minutes this way and that way." And he goes, "And by the time I came back, my phone was dead." And he goes, "I'm so sorry." And I'm just like, I was like, "I'm just so thankful that you are here." Like, oh my God. It was one of the scariest nights of my life. And I was like, you are the biggest idiot. So, moral of the story, if you do happen to go to a foreign country that doesn't speak any English with a random stranger, make sure you get all the details of everything, your flight details, his passport details, or whatever. Like, get all the details. Don't be a numbnut like me. Anyway, long story short, he had a great time in China. He's met with an amazing factory, which is actually the same factory that does Adidas, that produces like Adidas or Adidas, however you say it. And he ended up like signing a contract with them. And the next day we just went and explored a bit of Hong Kong, went to the markets, went up, the same thing, no English. So we went to one restaurant we were trying to get lunch. We went to one restaurant that had, all we recognized was chicken. So we were like, chicken. Like, we just want the chicken. Like, and we just pointed at the menu. We were like, this one here. And they go, okay. Anyway, take the menus away. They come with like two big buckets and gloves. And we were like, we're looking at each other like, what the hell is going on here? Next thing, like, we were like, what have we ordered? Like, we have no idea what we've ordered. Next thing, there's a bowl. Like, I'm not even joking when I say a bowl of chicken, like mounted, like honey glazed, like chicken pieces, like legs and thighs. Like, it was delicious, but it's just this mountain. There would have been at least like 3 or 4 chooks in this bowl. And that's when we understand. You get the gloves because they don't give you cutlery. You've got the gloves. You've got the bucket for the chicken pieces, and you just got this big mound of chicken. And we were just laughing our asses off, and then went and walked through the markets. I found the cheap shopping, realized that there is cheap shopping, but not at the fancy supermarket. And we had an amazing time and came back from Hong Kong, and he ended up becoming my boyfriend for another 1.5 years. So it ended up turning to be an amazing trip. But yeah, just a fun another fun travel story for you guys. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Let me know if you have any questions or if you have any feedback. I love hearing it. I hope you're enjoying the rest of the episodes. I do have a lot of exciting interviews to come and a lot more in podcasts that I'm going to be releasing really, really soon. So if you are enjoying it, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. And if you're on iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts, please be the 1% that does take 5 minutes to leave a review. It really, really does help me grow this podcast, reach more people, and continue to record and have fun with you guys. So again, thank you so much. We will see you on the next episode of The Casey Way.